Welcome to the Pet Buzz, Sarah Ann.
Thank you, Dr. Flex. Thank you, Charlotte. It's fun to be here.
So many people start the dating process online these days. We know that. And I'm just a little curious. Do you put your pet's picture on your glamour shot on an online dating site? Or do you mention that you have a pet in your profile?
I recommend putting a picture on there with you and your pup. This way you quickly attract those other dog lovers and quickly deter those who aren't.
What do you do if your new love interest is not a pet lover? How do you handle that?
So if you're looking at someone's profile and you're a bit interested, but it says that they don't really care for animals, if you're a parent of a child, you would never consider dating someone who says, I don't like kids. So as a pet parent, I would say that is, a quick deal breaker. If someone doesn't like animals, why even consider someone who's
Sure.
not every member of your family?
I don't even think it really has to. I mean, once you get past the online dating, you're going to find out from talking about, each other talking about themselves. You're going to find out if they have a dog or if they're going to find out if you have a dog. So I think it's kind of like, then you kind of have to think about after you got to know them a little bit or gone on a date and they know you have a pet. So I don't think it's necessarily, when you're on the online dating site, but you'll find out quickly. So yeah, I think it's time to move on if they don't like dogs.
Yeah, I mean, because if you really like them but they still don't like dogs, you're kind of in a pickle.
So these days, the first few encounters with a new love interest don't involve meeting at home, but out and about.
Yeah, you like us meet for drinks, meet for coffee, meet at a restaurant.
Yeah. But once your love interest comes to your home, how do you introduce that pet to the new partner?
I would recommend, before you even consider them, bringing your date back to your house, asking them, especially, of course, if you have a dog, to join you on a walk with your dog. This helps break the ice on neutral territory. And then once you do invite them into your house, make sure you ask your date to text when they arrive rather than knocking or ringing the doorbell, because that's going to trigger your dog. Pop your dog in another room before they arrive and invite your date in, ask them to sit down, get them settled, and ask them not to acknowledge your dog as you walk them into the room. The key is keeping everything as calm as possible and setting the whole situation up for success. Go into the room with your dog. Wait until they've calmed down for a moment, pop a leash on them, and calmly walk them into the room with your date. If your dog goes in front of you, just turn around and walk back a few steps. Continue doing this as you walk into the room with your date. Then sit down on the opposite side of the room from them. Hold the leash like the stake in the ground. Wait until your dog just settles down and is relaxed, and then drop the leash and invite your date to call your dog over and give them affection, of course, armed with high value treats. And when they pet them, make sure they don't reach over the top, but reach down under and pet them on their chest first. It's all about helping your dog feel safe and comfortable with this new person that's come into your life.
What if they don't click? What if there's no spark between Dr. Flex Poopsie or, what happens then?
So are you talking about if the dog is feeling nervous with someone?
Yeah, what if she bites him? I mean, he comes out, he goes through all the steps and she goes.
Yeah. The perfect scenario that I set up kind of helps to avoid that, because if you're walking into the room with your date and the dog is barking or growling, they're obviously not comfortable with the person sitting on the couch in your living room.
Right.
So in that case, you just turn around and go back out of sight, and you continue doing that until you come into the room and your dog feels comfortable, and they're going to show you that they're comfortable because they're not going to continue that behavior. And then instead of dropping the leash, you just hold that leash and the dog just gets to hang out in the room with your date. And it could be several visits with your date coming over before you even think about dropping that leash. That way, your new date isn't afraid of your dog biting them. And your dog has all the time they need to get comfortable with someone, right? And something else that people do, they make a mistake of leaning over a dog to pet them. And it's really important that people sit sideways, right?
Right.
So, with COVID and everything, there's so many dogs that are afraid and nervous with people coming into the house now
Sure.
because they haven't had much exposure. And then they can feel more protective of the people in the house. So it might take a few extra minutes to walk them in on a leash, but it sets the dog up for success. And helps you with your new date too, so that you can have a good experience from the beginning.
So how do you balance the relationship with your new partner and your pet, especially if he or she is willing?
Is a bit apprehensive, right?
Yeah.
It's really important that your dog still feels included as they did before. So I would recommend making sure you take them out on the same amount of walks. They get the play time that they're used to getting, all the same activities, right? The same snuggle time, and just slowly include your date, your new love into those experiences. So it's not a huge change, it's more gradual. And then your date gets comfortable with your dog and your dog gets comfortable with your date. The other thing that can be really key is, talk to your date about your dog's personality. What do they love the most? What makes them feel uncomfortable? What's your dog apprehensive about, so that your date doesn't make any mistakes without realizing it, right? And let them know, hey, if something happens, I'll step in and handle it. You don't need to worry about it. And then it takes the pressure off your date and they can just have good experiences. And of course, like you said, Charlotte, that high value treats is key. Make it a great experience every time.
Oh, what if the pets don't like each other?
Well, what if
What if the pets don't?
what's the
Like, the
deal?
people like each other. What if the pets don't like each other? Like, what if one has like a canine corso and then the other one has like a little toy dog?
Again, the answer is like really slow introduction. And I recommend keeping both of the dogs on leash until you know that they're comfortable around each other, right? Because if you go ahead and drop those leashes, it can be an accident waiting to happen.
Sure.
And then that love interest is gone in a heartbeat because they're afraid of their dog getting hurt again.
Before you go, give us your website.
Yes, it's healthypawspetinsurance.com.
Okay.
And thank you so much, Charlotte and Dr. Fleck, for having me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for viewing our content on Pet Buzz Plus.